Hello, everyone, and I would like to thank you for taking time to watch this. For those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, the purposes of these videos are to talk more about the teaching that I presented on the previous Sunday. This past Sunday was the second week of our teaching series. We've been talking about becoming aware, becoming more mindful, becoming more conscious. If you've not watched the previous teachings, please go to YouTube, then to our Dalhousie Church page and check those out. On Sunday, I talked about the idea of being present. I discussed the difficulties of being present because we're so distracted by the past and we're so obsessed over the future. During the teaching time, I brought up the idea of sacrificing. I made a few challenging statements around sacrificing. And I want to talk further about some of those ideas and then present a few questions for us to work through. The idea that I brought forward was we have to sacrifice now for the future. Now for the future. We know this is true. We sacrifice now for the future when it comes to education, finance, health, families, and vacations, and the list can go on. However, we rarely think of sacrificing now for our spiritual and mental futures, but we must do it. Sacrificing can be a difficult concept for us to wrap our minds around because the way we were raised, and it goes against what culture and society is telling us. We're constantly bombarded by the idea that everything in life can be a both and. For most choices in life, that isn't true. Where did we even come up with that idea? Living with this type of mindset creates entitlement, greed, and a profound lack of appreciation. I can actually hear my granny, that's a grandmother for those of you that did not grow up in the South, laughing at me saying, "You're spoiled rotten." For most decisions, we are saying no to a lot of other things so we can say yes to one thing. That's right, just one thing. Jesus speaks about this very issue. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Sacrifice is hard, and we know this. The first sacrifice that we're asked to make is the hardest. It's the sacrifice of ourselves. Jesus said we have to die to ourselves. That's our ego, our selfish desires, and a me first mentality in order to save our lives. That is hugely countercultural. We are always sacrificing. We're sacrificing whether we know it or not. Not being conscious or strategic about what we are sacrificing can be and often is a detriment in our present as well as in the future. The choice isn't whether I want to sacrifice because it's a given that we are sacrificing no matter what. The choice is actually around awareness or lack of awareness. That is the truth, and that is difficult. That, my friends, is the only choice we have. Do we really want to be unaware of the valuable things in life that we may be sacrificing? Here's the good news. If we choose awareness, at least at a minimum, we're able to bring wisdom and discernment to the choices we make around sacrifice. The benefit of this is that we become more focused on what we are to do and be. Remember from Sunday, Philippians 3, Paul says, "This one thing I do." That doesn't mean that our sacrifices will not be hard or painful. That is why they're called sacrifices. It does mean that I'm able to exercise wisdom over my choices. So with that in mind, here are some questions and ideas that I would like for us to spend some time thinking through. Parents, are we raising our kids with a both and ideology? Can we see how dangerous that is? If we do, we need to change and correct that for the sake of our children's futures. So what changes do we need to make? Evaluate your current situation and ask yourself this question. Are the sacrifices we are making allow us to become the kind of person that we want to be? Maybe you need to get out of some relationships or a job or environments that you find yourself in. This is a difficult question. How many of these sacrifices are you making that only benefit you? If you recognize most of them are for yourself, you might want to rethink those and refocus on what Jesus did and the choices that he made. I know that some of the choices and sacrifices we make or need to make can be very difficult. If you would like to pray with someone through these, I would encourage you to reach out to our prayer team at prayer@dccnet.org. After receiving your email, they will get in touch with you and schedule a time to pray with you. I want to thank you again for watching. On this Sunday, we will continue the series on becoming aware as we talk about the subject of Give Me a Break. May the peace and joy of Christ be with you.